Panfish Nation along with Mark. I'm Lyle. Mark, we got a great guest tonight. Something that's near and dear to my heart. We got somebody that is from Missouri for a change, and
Amen for Missouri. I love Missouri. You hear that, Cindy?
and Chad.
And Chad, you hear that, Chad?
Dennis, welcome to the show. We'll get to you in just a second. Mark, what do you say we run through some of the people that's in chat?
I'd love to. I like saying hello to everybody. It's kind of
Yeah,
turning
yeah.
into my thing. People are asking me to do it on their shows now, too.
Well, that's okay.
I'll do it. I'm here. I'm for
I'm pretty
hire.
sure they're not going to ask me because it takes me too long to go through them all.
Yeah, well, no comment. Let's get started. I want to say hello to Betty, D, Cindy, and Katie. They're probably out there watching. If not, they're watching later. All right, my sisters and mom, I appreciate you. Welcome. Thanks for watching. I see Larry from 3+1 Outdoors. What's going on, Larry? He had a show or a video that just premiered before this. Where pretty cool video. There's Betty. Betty just showed up. What's up, sis?
Oh,
Alan Pershala's in the house. We got Brian B. Catfishing, the Potomac River Terminator. What's going on, buddy? Hey, there's me, Catfishing Crappie. Make sure you check out my channel if you haven't. There should be a link to it, but you know how to find it. It's pretty easy to find. There's Dan Thompson. What's going on, Dan? How you doing, bud? David Martin's in the house. One of my favorite people on Facebook to watch his videos and his posts and stuff. He's a good dude, and I want to thank him. He did me a great favor, but I'm not going to mention that because I don't know if I'm supposed to, but he's a good dude. I see Bobcat Outdoors, Alvin Lewis, Alan Pershala. I see David Smith in the house. Hey, there's Fields to Water. I thought I timed him out. Fishing with the Chad. What's going on, Chad? One and only. There's D again. Hello, D. There's my buddy Jigging with Jake. What's going on, Jake? How you doing, partner? Hope everything's well. There's Jimmy Graham in the house. I think that's a new one. Welcome. There's Joy Stewart. What's going on, Joy? How you doing? Keith Smart. I'm seeing him in more shows, so I'm going to guess he's feeling better. And if not, I hope he's feeling better real soon. Kevin Baker in the house. What's up? Lance McCougai. What's up, Lance? How you doing, bud? Laughing Cats Fishing. How you doing, Thomas? There's the great Lizabella Kirkpatrick Thomas. What's going on, dear? Mike Irvin in the house. There's my buddy Parker Pursuits. He was live today. What's going on, Parker? There's Real Gals Fishing. How you doing, dear? Robert Andrews. What's up, buddy? Scott Swift in the house. There's Silver Fox Fishing, my favorite of the Van family. What's going on, dear? Super Dave 336, the great moderator of SK's Crappie Catching Adventures live chats. He has his hands full. That's a busy one. We got Frank over at Twisted Fishing TV. What's going on, Frank? There's Van. What's going on, Van? If you're driving, please be careful. I think he was done driving for the week. I was on a live show with him yesterday. There's Matt over at Want to Be Outdoors. What's going on, Matt? Warrior Heart Fishing. I love that name. Welcome. Whisker Dreams. What's up, buddy? Wild Turkey in the house. There's Fat Boy Cat Fishing. How you doing? Two Stands Fishing in the house. Going through the list. If I said hello to you, Alan Pershala, forgive me for saying hello a second time. Andy A in the house. Bobcat Outdoors. I might have got him. But I think Crappie Day Fish On, he's a good supporter of the channel. He's always here.
Absolutely.
No better day than a Crappie Day. Wouldn't you guys agree?
I would agree with
Fish
that.
in the Mid-South in the house. What's up? Thomas, Laughing Cats. I think I got him, but I want to say hello a second time. I think I got everybody. That's quite the crew today. I did say Mid-South Outdoors. I did.
Oh, okay.
Freddie's in the house. I just saw him on there.
Got Swift.
I got Scott Swift, I believe. Welcome, Scott Swift, again.
Huh. How about Danimals, Creations, and Adventures?
Hey, Dan, what's up, buddy? I didn't see his name in the list, but maybe he just started chatting. We'll say hello now. Thanks for having my back, buddy.
That's all right. I told
Hey, Lyle. I want to give one of these away, the new gray with white. I got a few colors, but I want to give one of these away sometime during the show.
Yep.
So you guys need to hang around and wait because we're going to pop it up as a surprise. If you want to get them, there's a lot of people looking for them. And there was something else that you were planning on giving away.
I was, and you can't see it very well because of my green screen, but it is a Panfish Nation mug. We was announced that we was going to give one of those away this week on Catfish Weekly and Panfish Nation. Well, guess who forgot to do it on Catfish Weekly? So we'll do that Monday coming up.
If you're watching and not in chat, you're going to need to be in chat in order to win. In order to do so, you got to be a subscriber to the channel for at least, I think, what did we set it to? 5 minutes, Lyle?
1 minute.
1 minute. You got to be a subscriber to the channel, and it'll time you for 1 minute before you can make a comment in the chat. And when we prompt you guys, you'll enter in the hashtag that whatever we pick. I'll pick the hashtag. Lyle always picks inappropriate ones. Stuff that Google and YouTube don't like. They won't even let them do it. But we're gonna get that. There's SK. What's up, SK? How you doing, bud?
I don't do it on purpose, man.
Lynn's in the house. What's up, Lynn?
Hey,
How you
Lynn,
doing?
good to see you, buddy. Yeah, we're always glad to see Lynn in here. He hadn't been around much. I guess he's been working hard.
There's Outdoors with Big Matt. He just said, we almost forgot. Merry Christmas, everybody.
That's right. Merry Christmas.
And speaking of Christmas, I know I'm taking over the show here. There's Fishing with JBT. We're going to have a Christmas show. I think we decided we're going to do it on Catfish Weekly channel Saturday night. So keep your eye on the time. I think we're going to do it like 7 or 8 o'clock Eastern time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that's a good deal. We're going to have a bunch of people come on there. Keep an eye out for the fun thumbnail that I'm working on. It's going to be kind of ridiculous.
Well, and the song that'll go with it, I think I know what one that might be.
I think we might know. Dennis.
Yes.
I think we took care of all the business we need to take care of. Thank you for being so patient, buddy.
No problem. No problem, guys.
We're sure glad to have you in here. I was really happy to find your channel and find out that you fish Mark Twain Lake, because I remember they built Mark Twain Lake while I was in high school.
Yeah.
In the 70s. So
yeah, that's when they started it. I mean, I can remember when I was a kid, I couldn't have been very old. And when they were building it, they didn't have the earthen part of it done yet, the earthen levee section. And I can remember when I was a kid, my dad put me on the railing at the overlook and watching the water overflow it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then my wife's dad, he actually was on one of the concrete crews pouring the concrete for the dam back in the mid 70s.
Yep. A lot of the guys that was older than me and graduated high school, they went up there and got jobs right out of high school working there. And even some of the guys that I went to school with later on got jobs there, but they was a lot harder to get then.
Yeah.
Because they got so much of it done. And
right.
I was, to be quite honest, once Mark Twain Lake, the dam was done, they started filling the lake.
Yeah.
I was probably the maddest person in the world because it ruined Salt River for fishing for a long time.
Part of it did. You can still catch good fish at Salt River below the dam. Actually, my personal best blue cat came from about a mile down the Salt River from below the Clarence Canyon Dam. 56-pound blue cat.
That's a giant.
But, and that's been about 20 years ago. But, I mean, they still regularly do catch decent fish down there, you know, below the dam. And it can be really good crappie fishing in the early spring before the lake's turning on. The water temperatures are still pretty cool up the lake. But down on that dam, when the sun comes out in the early spring, I'm talking first parts of March, early March, with all that rock, that white rock around there, and it's warm, sunny days.
Warms up quick.
It's only about 5 foot deep when they're not running water at the deepest point from the dam all the way to the first corner. You could walk from where the boat ramp is down there. You could walk all the way across there when they're not running water, and water's only this deep. It's not deep at all. So that water warms up quick. So those fish come up in that faster. And I've caught a lot of nice crappie just spider rigging 3 foot down as all the deeper you are, 3 to 4 foot, and just bumping a trolling motor down there right around the boat ramp towards the dam where the buoys are, and caught nice fish down there. And you do catch a lot of small ones down there once the water starts warming up and fish get active. But when that happens, usually the lake's starting to turn on.
Right. Do you think that by chance that the bait fish go up in there to warm up and it brings the bigger fish in there with them?
It could be. I think it's a good chance. Here in the last couple of years, I've noticed fishing down there on that Salt River portion of the, there's a lot more shad than there used to be. In the past years, if you wanted shad, you went up to the lake. you know, if you were going to fish, you know, we needed bait of catfish or whatever. Last year and this year, I've noticed, especially this year, starting to see more shad in the water down there. I was actually able to get bait when I was down there catfishing, um, right down there on the river. That normally you couldn't, you had a problem doing that. You know, you had to go up to the lake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the bait fish are moving in there, and that's why they're in there so early because of
Yeah,
that warmer water.
I'm thinking that's probably right, but um, I didn't know that there was that many crappie on the Salt River portion.
Yes. It's actually pretty underrated. At times, it can be really good. Um, like if you put in, they call it it's our secondary boat ramp on that section of river in the re-reg pool, which is the area of water between the big dam and before it gets to the re-regulation dam, the secondary dam. There's a secondary ramp. The locals call it Cincinnati Landing. Um, and if you put in there and head back towards upriver towards the big dam, that's the deepest part of the river, is from right around from that landing from the re-reg dam to that boat ramp, and then for about the next 2 miles. That's the deepest part of the river. Um, and there's places in there where there is 23, 24 foot of water. There are holes, but it maintains pretty much anywhere from 16 to 18 foot all on through that area of the river. And that water fluctuates so much, especially this spring. We had a lot of spring storms. We had some really bad ones up here. And especially around the Perry area, around the dam in general, and the lake area, we got hit really hard. A lot of trees were knocked down, big trees. Well, down there this year on that Salt River area, a lot of the big trees, I'm talking the ones that are, you know, 6 foot around, you can't even begin to put your arms around them, that were close to the edge of the river. They actually got knocked over in the river.
Oh wow!
And then when they did run water to get the water down, because the lake this year was high, pretty much spring through all summer, the lake was high. So they were running a lot of water all summer. The trees didn't get washed completely out. It just kind of moved them like this with the flow of the water. So there's a lot of structure in there right now. And
Cool.
I think you could go down there and do really well. I know several people that do fish down there, and that's where they fish for crappie. And they do catch crappie. There are big crappie down there. I mean, I've caught some big ones down there. Mainly, you know, I'm a jig guy more than anything, or minnow guy. I use, you know, like a jig head with a minnow a lot of times. Um, and you can catch some big crappie down there, but mostly what I've caught when I'm down there is anywhere in that 6 inch on the small side. You know, you'll catch 5 or 6 inch, and then you'll catch one that's 8.5, 9, 10, 11 inches somewhere in there. You got to catch a few. You're going to catch some small ones down there to get to the big ones. You know,
Sounds like a good place for a video.
it's a really good place, especially in the heat of summer. If you have kids, you know, smaller kids, it's fairly safe for them to walk down on them on the rocks, especially on the north side. It has smaller gravel, you know, like what would be in a
Mm-hmm.
parking lot. You can get some minnows and a cork, and if you got, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 year old, you can go down there in the early mornings, you know, before it gets real hot, or in the evenings when it's cooling off, and take a kid down there in the summertime just with those minnows. And you only got to be, you know, 5 to 10 feet off the bank to catch these fish, and a couple feet down. And it's just fast as you can get it into the water, you know, and they're going to hit it. And it's a good spot. I mean, that's what we all started fishing. Most people start fishing. What do you go catch? You learn catching bluegill or crappie.
That's
You
right.
know, mostly in a pond. You know, whether it was your dad or grandpa or whoever took you. You know, that's what you start. You know, catching with. So it's just a good area down there in general. And maybe you're somebody who doesn't have a boat. Mark Twain is not a real easy lake to fish from the bank in general. There's not a lot of places you can get to the bank. Pretty much your best shots are around the boat ramps, and then go to the boat ramps and walk away from the boat ramps down the sides as long as the water's low enough. You can't fish the boat ramps, of course, but you can fish in the general areas of the boat ramps.
Right.
As far as places where you can pull over and there might be a little parking lot and you can walk 15, 20 feet down to the water, there isn't a lot of spots like that around Mark Twain. There really isn't. You can't get to the water. There are places you can get to water, but you got to walk quite a ways from where you got to have to park. And some people just can't walk, you know, down
Mhm.
uneven terrain, or whatever, to where an area like that, it's easy access for them, and there is some good fishing down there. You know,
Sounds like a place that James would like to go to. He's been in Mark Twain quite a few times too, hasn't he, Dockery?
James Dockery, yeah, he fishes down there some. But if you pay attention to James Dockery, I think he could catch crappie in a mud puddle.
Yeah, but he does like going to new spots. He
does like going to new
he's an
places.
explorer as anything. We got Frank over at Twisted Fishing TV. He says he's already been checking out the maps over there that you were talking about. He says he bets it's been full of crappie. Frank's a fanatic too, so he's a good dude. He's probably planning his trip out there right now.
And that's something. That's something too. Talking about maps, with that river and stuff. I mean, Google Earth they don't update it a lot, but check out Google Earth. Just don't look at a typo map. You can see especially on that river. I mean, rivers change. That's one thing that's nice about a river, and also what's not nice about a river, because you'll go there 1 month and they're there. The next year, that spot ain't there no more because it's gone. It's done been washed out.
Yep.
Where that one it's a man-made channel for the most part that runs between those two dams, and a lot of the structure that you see on Google, looking at it Google Earth, you can zoom in enough, you can actually see where them big laid down trees and stuff are. And a lot of them are still there. So you can kind of see ahead, kind of what's going on. And especially the areas, if you can't get around real good, you can see that it's a gravel bank, and see that there is a place to park. It's fairly decent walking, whatnot.
I believe there's a time warp feature too on Google Earth where you can actually see it through time. So if you start, let's say, 20 years ago, you can see where the trees were and where they're not, and how the stuff's changed. I use that a lot too to try and find new
bars, all kinds of stuff.
Try to find new brush piles and stuff. So it's pretty handy.
I like it I like using it just for, I fish the Mississippi occasionally, and at certain times of the year, I fish it, but it isn't like the Mark Twain where I can tell you where almost every log and stick is out there, on certain areas of that lake. Don't go here, blah, blah, blah. You can look on there and see, at least in our section, of the river from Saverton south to Louisiana or Clarksville, that picture they have on there is a picture when the river's kind of low. So you can see where all the wing dams are. Not just because the rocks are sticking out, you can actually see the ripples on the water, top of the water, to see where the wing dams are. If you're not sure, and you can say, okay, there's a wing dam right here by this tree, whatever, this far away, and then you can kind of get an idea of where you're at before you actually go. So you kind of know all the channels on this side, or whatever. So if you're not familiar with a body of water, it'll kind of help you get a picture of what's there before you actually get there and go, I don't know where to go,
Those are some great tips. I mean, once you learn to read a body of water, especially a moving one like a river, once you start looking for current in that, especially, sometimes, let's say where a channel or something moves in, you can see, how the clean water and the dirty water mix, and even, the seams like you're talking about. So that's pretty darn good, tip right there for everybody out there in
Google
chat.
Earth and Navionics and some of them things are my best friend a lot of times.
Yeah. I mean, electronics has gotten to the point to where they could be your best friend, but they can also kind of hinder you a little bit on the actual fishing aspect of it.
Right. They can. I on my Garmin, all my waypoints, I transfer them over to my phone. So when we get, safe ice, I got them. I know where the brush piles are. I do it mostly for that reason right there. So the more information you can get, I keep a logbook. I even have some very, I would never show anybody, but they're very terrible drawings of where where stuff is. But I understand them. So I mean, it's a big help, and I find year after year, the more data that you collect and the more research that you get better at, that the better you're going to produce.
We do have right there. Yeah. You just said it right there. Keeping track of what you did in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do it catfishing. When I go catfishing, I come home, I back the boat in, hook the batteries up to chargers and stuff. And the first thing I do is I go over to a shelf, grab my notebook, write down air temperature, water temperature. Was it sunny, cloudy? Was it windy? How many I caught, average size, what they were hitting on. Yep. And you can look back on that in the general area I was in, and you can look back on that because it makes a big difference. Certain times of the year, fish are at certain spots, but they won't be later.
Right.
And if you go to that spot and there's nothing there, okay, I went here last year and caught the heck out of them. Why aren't they biting? Or I'm not catching anything here. I wonder if they're over here. You already know where that is without having 50 jillion markers on your depth finder trying to follow. You just learn where those areas are.
Freddy's Outdoor Adventures has a question. He says, "What is your favorite panfish to fish for?"
Crappie.
I think I know the answer to that.
Crappie by far. I love fishing for bluegill too, and there used to be a really good bluegill lake, Route J Reservoir. That's where I learned kind of to fish was farm ponds and Route J because Mark Twain wasn't there yet. And 20 years ago, I could go out there and catch 5-6 inch bluegill, which for a lake that's not known for, big bluegill in general, that's good bluegill. But the last couple times I was out there, all I caught was, bait fish size ones, but by far crappie.
I agree. I like a good red breast too. I can't lie, but crappie's the one that keeps me up at night. If I got a crappie trip in the morning, I'm not sleeping. I'm not even joking.
Depends on where's that. Depends on where you're going. That's how it is with me. There's one place in particular I'm real excited. I'm going to be going to here. I'm going to wait and go in January just because I'm going to wait for it to get cold. I'm going to wait for this to freeze up if it freezes, and I'm going to go there. But and I have a feeling the night before that, I'm not going to sleep much because I'm real excited to go to a spot in general. What's the big fish record for the crappie in that area? I think it was last year in a tournament put on. I think it was the tournament that Van puts on in Thumper Jigs. I think it was 3 pounds and 3.86, I want to say. It was a huge crappie. I mean, it was a beast. There's actually a video on YouTube where they actually show the weigh in of that fish. That's the biggest one I've heard of. There's been several 3-pound fish caught in the last couple of years. The biggest one I've ever caught is 21 inches long. I don't know how much it weighed.
Wow.
But it was 21 inches at the lake, and it was released back out to the lake.
Have to watch it. SK will be coming up here from Houston, Texas to fish with a 3-pounder.
So what is your PB since we're talking big fish?
I'm sorry.
What's your personal best crappie since we're talking big fish?
21 inches. I've caught several 19s.
Wow.
But like I said, I didn't have a scale then. We're talking 15 years ago, 16 years ago.
Good job.
But I've always had a rule in my boat on crappie. Anybody, I don't care who it is. I don't care if Roland Martin, Bill Dance, anybody wants to come with me. If they catch a crappie over 12 inches, it goes back. And if it's under 9 inches, it goes back. You can keep 9 to 12 in my boat. Simple as that. Same way like catfish. If it's over 30 inches, it goes back. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's your personal best. It used to be, you see back here behind me on the wall, there's a couple walleye back there that are 7, 8
Yeah, I was going to get to that in a minute.
Okay. There's a bass back there that are 8 pounds plus. Those are fish got kept. But all those fish were caught years ago. Now the replicas have gotten so much better. Take 8 or 10 pictures of the fish from every angle. Take some.
Everybody's got one of these.
Yeah, everybody's
got one.
If you're not sure how to measure it, Google it. If you're not able to Google, call somebody by a computer, ask them what they need. Take the measurements, take plenty of pictures. You can't take too many pictures, and get a replica made and put that fish back. Everybody wants to catch big fish, but you can't catch them if everybody takes big fish if they're not there. So you have to put them back. Mark Twain in general, to me, Mark Twain is a great fishery for crappie. I mean, you can go out there and you can catch fish, and you can catch some really nice fish. Most of the fish you're going to catch is going to be in what I call eater range, in that 12 to 8 to 12 inches is where a lot of people won't keep them unless they're 8 inches, which is we don't have a length limit at Mark Twain. So
what about a creel?
15.
15?
15.
See, that's a reasonable one. I know a lot of places that are 35 and up, and that seems a little excessive, and people fill their buckets up with them. I think 15 a person's a good one.
Well, down below the dam, you keep 30.
Okay.
Salt River, but up on the lake, it's 15. I only keep 15 when I go to the below the dam if I catch them. It's me and my wife. We eat fish about twice a week. We do eat a lot of fish. Um, and if you get 15 fish and they're 9.5 to 11 inches, for us, 15 fish, that's 2 meals for just
Easy.
15 fish. So, and to me, it's as much about going out and the experience of fishing, not just going out, oh, I got to get this limit.
It's like playing chess.
It's 8 miles from my back door to the dam.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need to go out and catch a limit every time and bring them home?
This is true.
And the big fish, especially, this is something that gets me is people that want to go out and they catch these big fish. And I mean, and I'm going to say this, and I mean it in a nice way. It's perfectly legal if you want to keep a 15, 16 inch crappie. It's legal. It's your right to do so. And if you want to do it, that's fine. Me personally, there's no reason to keep them big ones when a 12-inch fish is going to have plenty of meat on it. If you want a sandwich size fillet, a 12-inch, 11, 12-inch crappies, even a 10-inch, if it's a black crappie, especially, will have a big enough fillet for a sandwich. If you know how to fillet, if you're good at filleting.
Yep. If you're not like me and miss one side, I caught a lot of hell for that.
Well, like 9 and sometimes 10-inch fish, I'm not the best with my electric knife. Taking that layer of meat off around that rib cage, sometimes I just cut the rib cage off.
But that electric knife sure does make it easier, don't it?
And it's nice in 5 minutes. You're done dressing fish.
That's right. I like that.
Betty G from A Couple Crosses Fishing is asking, what kind of technique do you use? Do you use one style of rod, one technique, one bait? What you using?
Lately, I've been one poling. Since I bought Live Scope, I used to do a lot of spider rigging. And I still like to spider rig in the summer months or even drag baits behind the boat. I tried dragging crankbaits this year for the first time in a video in July, which is usually in the middle of summers when the guys are doing that, catching them. And I've heard guys doing great at it.
I've tried it this year too for the first time.
Was drum.
I caught a 6-pound bass doing that.
Yeah, all I caught were drum about 18 inches, and crappie about like this. The crankbait was as big as a crappie. But 90% of the time, I'm single pole, vertical jigging, using Live Scope. I used to like spider rigging, and when I spider rigged, what I did a drop shot kind of set up with like a 1/2-ounce sinker on the bottom with 2 hooks, with minnow.
Okay, I was going to ask you how you got those baits that deep when you were spider rigging. Now, what kind of speeds are you moving at?
Well, just bumping the trolling motor every now and then, as long as I'm moving. Even slower than like you drag. If you've ever drugged for catfish, you drag. Anything under 1/2 mile an hour is my rule. I think it's best. I prefer around 0.3.
Yeah, I asked because 0.3 is like the 0.3 is like the slowest I can get my boat. I didn't even think about bumping it every now and then. That would be good.
All I do is I put my trolling motor on like 1 or 2, just enough so I can, if there's no wind, to where when I bump it, the boat just moves.
Do you think spider rigging would be productive with just 2 poles? Because we got a limit of 2 poles here in Illinois per person. I don't have enough room for 2 people in front of my boat. So
2's better than 1.
Yeah, this is true. I've been thinking about trying it and giving it a shot. I've been long lining for a while, and I just got into using some jigs and stuff, and I'll use the long line and actually locate them a lot of times in a lot of water. Even with side imaging, the waters I fish for them are rather shallow, so it's kind of hard to get a good picture of them, especially if they're buried in the weeds. Yeah. But
like in the spring here, I use Live Scope. I bought Live Scope here this last February. I've had it about a year now. And I debated on buying it. The first year it was out, I'm like, I don't need Live Scope catch crappie on Mark Twain. If you need Live Scope catch crappie on Mark Twain, you just need to quit fishing. That was my attitude. It's kind of the same as all the other Live Scope haters. Okay, well, I got to watching a friend of mine who has a YouTube channel. I got to talking to him a little bit and watching a couple of his videos and whatnot. And, of course, he had it. And, it kind of looks like a lot of fun. But I fish for crappie in the spring, and then usually somewhere in August, September, I'll start fishing for crappie again through winter. The rest of the time, I'm pretty much a catfish guy. I mean, I'm known around the lake more for catfishermen than I am crappie fishing. But I mean, I can catch them. I enjoy catching them.
How do you feel about crappie in the summer? Do you feel it's true that everybody says the meat's a little mushy in the summer?
Mushy.
Mushy?
I
It
want
is.
cold water. Cold water fish are always better than warm water fish.
They do taste
I
better.
don't care what kind of fish it is.
Especially when you pull them right out of the ice and just lay them on there. They, for some reason, they just taste so good that way.
Yeah, I think all fish taste better out of cold water, no matter what it is. You know, you can't. My favorite fish, as far as freshwater that I can catch around here, are walleye and sauger by far. You know, as far as to eat,
I still think crappie is a little better. I don't know what it is.
Behind that,
I don't even like walleye.
You don't?
Walleye?
I don't like.
Oh my gosh!
Don't like walleye at all. Never had a sauger, so I can't judge them.
Saugers like walleye.
Same
I
thing.
just don't care enough about them. I would much rather have catfish and crappie anytime.
Yeah,
Hence the hat.
Yeah, no, with me it's walleye's probably my favorite. It's followed close second is flathead by
I
far.
like them.
And then actually channel cat, and I actually prefer to turn blues loose rather than eat them if I can.
Yeah, me too.
And the reason being is because I catch a lot of like blues out here at Mark Twain, and they're in that 23, 24, 25. You get a channel cat the same size, and there's twice as much meat on it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
What about yellow perch?
I've never caught them.
I haven't either, but Mark and so many people.
I've caught lots of them if James Dockery is watching.
They're north. I think they're further north than me, though.
They are, and they tell me that they are better eaten than even crappie, and I find that hard to believe. But everybody that's ever ate one says that.
I don't know if they're better. I'll say they're pretty much equal. It's different. The way I describe it is crappie, you get closer to like a thin steak, and with a like the meat's in the shape of a thin steak. And with a perch, it's more like a fish stick, but they're pretty close in taste, and it's like halfway between crappie and walleye. Yeah, so do I.
I like fillet of fish too, but you already knew that, Mark.
Yeah, I do.
I was corrected. A friend of mine texted me here. He that actually filmed the video of the biggest crappie. That it was actually 3.61 was the crappie that was caught in the tournament. That's still a monster crappie.
That's big, man.
You know,
when I was a young,
especially for us, I mean, our growth season isn't as big as like down in Texas and
that's for sure.
Mississippi, and down in the southern states where you go and you catch pound and a half crappie, one after the other. We have a slower, and at Mark Twain too. I don't know I've heard this. I don't know necessarily if it's true or a rumor, but the fish in our lake tend to be a little stunted because our shad grows so fast. They can get out of the smaller crappie, lose their forage shad quickly because they grow just so fast.
Man, but them crappie do love that shad. I've caught them in the spring, and I've brought them home, filleted them, and I found like 3 to 4 inch shad inside like a 12-inch crappie. It's crazy.
It's amazing how big
they're stacked in there too. There's like 3 or 4 of them in there. I was always amazed whenever that happened.
Yeah, this summer our lake was full. Mark Twain was chock full of those 2.5, 3 inch shad. I mean, the 10, 11, 12 inch and up crappie should have had more than enough food this year for sure to put on weight. And we do have red ear and shellcracker around here.
We sure do.
The main lake around here that's known for having red ear in it is actually Honeywell Lake.
Honeywell, that's one of Dockery's.
Yeah, Honeywell Lake used to be a really popular fishing spot before the lake opened. You could use your own boats there then and whatnot. Now they have, I'm not even sure they charge anymore. It used to be $5 and they had boats there. You bring your own trolling motor and battery. And I know at that lake, you can't use any bait from other waters. It has to be like, if you want to use minnows, it has to be like the ones you buy at Walmart in the package, you can use plastics, you can use night crawlers. But you can't like go to Mark Twain, get shad, and use your shad there. That's packaged baits because of the zebra mussels, and they are a hatchery.
Can you transfer the bait in tap water or no?
No.
Treat it. You can't even do that. I know in a lot of states you can do that as long as they're not in the same water.
Yeah, no, it's usually either packaged or prepared baits, or you can use worms,
Okay.
But they don't want any bait from any other waters. To the risk of contaminating, because they use the lake below Honeywell Lake is a hatchery for the Department of Conservation where they raise fingerlings and whatnot for their stocking programs, and they take the lake water to supplement that, and they don't want muscles to get in there and clog the pumps, the lines and stuff up for their pumping situations, is what my understanding is why you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, they can wreak havoc. They have here on the Great Lakes. So
yeah,
but they bounce back, but they do a lot of damage to infrastructure and stuff, and boats and so on. So
Oklahoma state record is 4.15 pounds. Love to catch one like that. Me too. The 3 pound mark is pretty. That's far out there for me. That's way out there.
I wouldn't know what to do if I got one that was 4 pounds, 3 pounds even. I'd be pretty excited.
There was a question in here I seen. Oh, Matt with Wannabe Outdoors says, "How's the fly fishing up there?"
I don't fly fish.
Okay, so you're not aware of anything like that.
No, we don't have trout here. I mean, they put trout in some of that. I know Kirksville does it in one of the lakes up there, and Hannibal does it in the pond at the park. They put trout in there for people to catch.
Our buddy Dockery fishes one of Kirksville a lot.
Yeah, there's no trout in Mark Twain that I'm aware of.
Yeah, we got a few people that use fly setups for panfish in chat, especially like Kim Burnett. He gets on some really good ones.
For bluegill at Route J.
Lots of bluegills, big bluegills.
Especially when there's, Route J has trees growing and they kind of hang over. So, putting a fly up underneath there would work great for that. But like Mark Twain, it's just shale pretty much. So, I mean, I don't see where it would be a huge thing. I've never seen anybody, if they got a fly rod, they're using it as a crappie rod usually.
Hey, Mark, did I mention to you that Kim Burnett is going to be fishing Truman next week? If nothing more than get to shake his hand, I'm going to drive over and try to meet him one day next week.
If you don't bring a fishing rod with you, I'm going to be very upset. Very upset.
I can't wait to meet Kim. He's a good guy.
Kim educates a lot of youth as far as fishing goes.
And
I'll bet you he'll have an extra rod and reel in that truck, and I bet you he gets you on some panfish while you're up there. I don't see why he wouldn't.
It'll depend on the weather and everything, but
I just hope he gives you a Snoopy rod and gets it on video. That's what I want to see.
Hey, I'll fish with anything, dude. It don't matter to me. I didn't know that, Danny. I'm glad you brought that up. 4 pounds, 8 ounce black crappie. That's a giant from a private pond. That's outstanding.
So Dennis, what are your feelings on like personal bests and stuff? Or would you rather chase like a good bite, or would you rather chase a big fish?
Honestly, it depends on my personality, how I feel that day.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, though, I feel like I'd rather go to a fishery and fish a fishery that has where you have a good experience, more than just going to catch that one big one, or whatever, a personal best. I mean, the whole point, at least for me, on my channel, you're going to see me catch small fish. If I catch a big one, I catch a big one. If it's a small one, you're going to catch a small one. If I mess up and almost fall in the water, it's on there too.
Mm-hmm.
It's on my channel. To me, it's the whole experience. I'm sharing, I love to fish. That's my passion. I used to hunt and all that, and it's great if people like to do that. My father is a extreme hunter. He will not kill anything but a big deer. He will, he's a trophy chaser, and he loves to duck and goose hunt. I don't think he misses a day, but I used to be that way. And as I've gotten older, I've kind of gone away from the hunting. I lived in a spot a couple of years moving around and whatnot, and I wasn't able to hunt because I really didn't have a good place to hunt, and I got to go. And when season rolled around again and I had a place and whatnot, I just really wasn't into it enough to even want to go. But fishing's always been, I'm going to fish. They outlaw it tomorrow, I'm going to be straight outlaw. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to do it. It's just, that's what I love to do. So much so, I think at times my wife would like to string me up by my toenails, but because
does your wife fish?
She loves to fish.
Good for you.
And I'll put her against most men. She'll bait her own. She'll bait anything but a cricket. She won't touch a cricket. She'll bait her own shad. She can throw net. She can cast out rods. She can take fish off hooks.
I wish you hadn't said that.
She can do all that, but she will not bait a cricket. That's the only
Cindy can do all the above.
Yeah.
And she's got this thing and she wants to learn how to throw a cast net. We end up buying her one that's on sale at Walmart. I don't want her up there throwing one, but I'm going to lose that battle, I think.
Have her, you know what? Have her practice in the front yard a little bit. And
That's right.
get her
And
use
falls out
that.
on the asphalt in the driveway. I can pick her, scoop her up, and take her in the house.
We got some great ladies in the chat and part of the catfish and panfish community that are. I'd put them up against a lot of guys too. They do a really great job.
Yeah.
You know, we got Betty and Dee in chat here. Real Gals Fishing. We also got, Jody was in there. She's going to go live fishing with another lady
Chad.
angler after. Yeah, we got Chad. He's a good lady angler. Well, he's a lady angler. I wouldn't say he's that good, but
That's a friend or relative right there.
Oh, he's a buddy. That's Mark's brother.
Yep. See? Yep.
Sort of.
No, but yeah, she loves. I've got a video. Actually, I found it the other. I've got 15 different little SIM cards, that I use, and at some point we went out here in mid November once it gets below about 50 degrees, she don't want to go out there in the cold, and but it was the first real cold snap we had, and I talked her into going, and we went out. We had a pretty good trip, but the problem I have when I take her catfishing, everything's usually great. But when we go crappie fishing, she doesn't get to go a whole lot because she works. She works more than I do. My wife is the breadwinner in our house. I own a business, but she makes more than I do. So when she gets time off and can go, I love taking her. When we go crappie fishing, if everything doesn't go right, meaning the trolling motor wants to be stupid for whatever reason that day,
that'll happen.
Or the motor doesn't run right, I tend to go to DEFCON 1 really fast and get pretty cantankerous, which makes her feel bad, because I'm, throwing stuff around in the boat. I'm being colorful. And
maybe you just need to be a little mindful of that. That's what I try to do.
My father told her when he gets my age, about 70, he'll mellow out and won't do that no more. But yeah, and that's what it is. I love taking her. I get just as much enjoyment watching her catch them as I do catching them myself. People, and I think that's a part of getting older.
I think so too.
I'm almost 50 now, but I do. I enjoy watching people I got a couple friends I take catfishing and whatnot. And a lot of times when I go with them, I don't care if I even pick a rod up.
Yep.
I'll cast it out. I'll bait them. I'll take the fish off. I let them reel them in.
I agree. Cindy gets mad when I say that, but I'm telling you, you let me do the thing and find the fish. That is what I want to do. And after that, it doesn't matter to me who catches them. I don't care.
As long as we get on them and get them in the boat, I'm a happy man. I got a bunch of live streams that I did where I've taken buddies with me, and I let them catch all the fish, and all I do is entertain the people and chat and drive the boat. Right in the right direction.
I mean, I get asked quite a bit, do you guide? People, since this channel's kind of been sort of a shock to me a little bit, I didn't think it would be anything, I mean, I had people ask me, this got started because I make fishing sinkers and people have seen them. You can't get dragon sinkers around the Mark Twain area, and you get them online. They're real, most of them, the name brand ones, are kind of high. And so I made my own, and I get asked at the boat ramp. People would stop asking me, where'd you get them? Well, how much would you charge me to make fiber? This or that. Well, and then people were asking me, well, how do you use them? So it was kind of a deal where I started making these sinkers, and then people want to know how to use them. So I kind of made that just to put videos showing me using them, how I did it, and it just kind of took off a little bit. I go to the boat ramps and people were, hey, I'm Northeast Missouri angler, I watched your video the other day, blah, blah. And it's kind of a shocker to me that I'm that interesting, because I'm not trying to be that guy, I'm not ever gonna.
I think we all get it. And the people who are on here and doing the YouTube thing, because you're living. I'm a firm believer that you're living in your own skin. You're with you 24/7. You're
I
nothing
am who I
special to
am.
yourself.
Yeah, I am who
Exactly.
I am. You know, like me or not, if you don't like what I put out there, don't watch.
Yeah,
You know,
we had
life's too
Oh,
short.
even if you don't like me
Yeah.
online, you won't like me in person.
I
You
guarantee
know,
that.
I'm the same person. I might swear and smoke a little more when I'm in person, but other than
Well,
that,
the only thing I have going for that is Cindy does keep me trimmed down a little bit compared to what I normally am when I'm not online. But other than that, I'm pretty much the same person, or at least I try to be.
That's
I
exactly
think
how I am. If you can't be who you are, you know, I'm not going to be something I'm not just to have somebody watch a video.
yeah, anyway, it takes too much effort. It's easier to be yourself.
Yeah.
You know, we had Danimal had a question for you. He asked if the bigger fish take different types of baits. But you're a jig and a minnow guy though, usually, right?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I use jigs and plastics, and I mean, right here's every plastic I own for crappie fishing, right there. You know, I'd use some hair jigs. I pretty much, and I found a jig a couple of years ago. You know, I've had jigs from everywhere, and they always had the same problem with crappie jigs. The hook's too small, and they swallow. They always have a little bitty little 1/0 hook, you know, number one hook, and they just got them. And you can't turn a fish loose. You know, it's gutted the hook. It's bleeding before you can get in the boat. You know,
Yeah,
it's
you
not.
gotta eat that one.
You know, so I like a bigger hook. That's why a lot of times I'd use just a gold hook with a minnow. But I use pretty much thumper jigs now. I like the fact that they're bigger. He has a bigger hook on them. And same way with the hair jigs, they have that bigger hook. And so I do use some hair jigs that he makes in primarily certain colors. You know, everybody's got their favorite colors they like. You know, for me in the spring, it's blue and white, red and white, yellow. You know, when you get in the summer, it's mainly getting more into your shad colors, you know, whatnot. In the fall, it's your pinks, oranges, you know, whatnot. Um, but yeah, but as far as do big fish eat different on panfish? Not really. Um, you can have an 8-inch fish, 8-inch crappie that'll take your rod, slam it, and then
Mm-hmm.
you'll have a 14-incher that you're having to do this with your rod just to feel the weight on the tip of the rod because he just goes up there and just grabs it. It's more the conditions how they're biting. As a cold front came in and got them real tight mouthed, they're not going to hit that. You know, in the spring, they're gonna thump. You're gonna feel that thump, and they're gonna pull. This time of year, yeah. Monday I went out. Water temperature is 44 degrees, and I had some fish in the morning. They were just kind of grabbing it. By midday, with the sun out, they would hit it, but they weren't pulling. But you get that thump, and they had it. They were holding on to it. But there was pretty much all the fish in September I caught. None of them did the thump. They just grabbed it, just held it. That's all they were doing. So, I mean, I do believe certain times they want a bigger minnow than, you know, others. You know, sometimes they want that little bitty short minnow, and other times
Mm-hmm.
they want that big minnow. It's just what mood they're in. You know, because crappie, at least on this area I'm in, you'll be sitting there and you'll be catching them one after the other for 30 minutes, and all of a sudden, nothing. They just won't bite. And you'll sit there and I'm watching them on live scope, you know, and they're just following the jig up and, you know, following the jig or min up and down, and they're just looking at it or whatnot. And then you'll sit there and do that for 25, 30 minutes, and all of a sudden a feeding frenzy starts again. You know, they're on and off. Crappie
They're absolutely.
out, but the crappie are really bad on and off at times.
And let me ask you this: since you got live scope, are you seeing them move out, or are you just seeing them stop biting?
No, they're literally just kind of
Tight-lipped.
They're tight-lipped would be a good way to describe it. The first 2 or 3 you catch, and a lot of it has to do with fishing the piles in the right. Fish the piles right. If you walk up to a pile of fish and you drop right down in the middle of them, you catch 2 or 3 fish out of there. The rest of them are going to get skittish, and the big ones are going to take off. You know, and you can actually see the big ones swim off. the bigger fish, and the other ones will just kind of sit there, and then they'll start doing that follow stuff. I always try to start fishing them on that live scope. I try to fish, if this is a brush pile, I try to take that bait down over here and catch fish, let them come over to it same way. Then I can move over here. I don't want to drop right down in the middle of them and then start pulling fish out of there because they're going to get skittish and their bigger fish are going to take off. I'd rather them come to my bait, kind of off of the brush a little bit, or even above it. Don't drop right down on it. Stay above it.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that from Larry Smith too.
Yeah, have them come up. You start pulling them out of the middle of them. There's 20 crappie down there, and you drop it down, the middle one bite it, and you yank up through the middle of them. They just get skittish, and they get real leery of stuff.
Mike's Fishing Home says, as a pan fisher, do you think, or what do you think when seeing a cat person using 8 to 10 inch panfish for bait?
In Missouri, you're not supposed to use anything over 6 inches.
That's right.
Oh, really?
You cannot use crappie for bait. You can use any kind of bluegill, sunfish. There's not one you can't use. You can use red ear. You can use green sunfish. Traditional bluegill, I always call them pumpkin seeds. They get like a pumpkin seed.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those you can use. Now, bait stores can't sell anything but a green sunfish. Some people call them warmouths. I always call them green sunfish. The big mouth bluegill.
Yep.
They can only sell those. They can't sell a bluegill or a red ear or any form of that. So if you want to use something that big, cut the head off of it.
That's right.
It's a sunfish. Yeah. Cut the head off of it. I mean,
catfish like cut bait too, even flatheads. I've caught them on everything.
Yeah, especially moving water. Now, flatheads in Mark Twain, if you want to catch flatheads, you're going to have to use live bait.
Really?
I have never caught a flathead on Mark Twain on cut bait. I've caught them on bluegill. I've caught them on goldfish, shiners. I've caught them on jigs, crankbaits. I've caught them on night crawlers. I have never caught a flathead on cut bait.
The flathead bite up here is hot in the fall on cut bait.
Do you have moving water?
We do have moving. Yes, technically we do, but I can't fill a drift sock sometimes. So,
yeah, like Mississippi, they'll bite. I've caught 2 flathead this year on the Mississippi, and both times it was on cut shad.
Cut shad, yep.
Moving water is your key. I know down south, a lot of guys that have shows down south, on YouTube. Dieter Melhorn, Kevin with Palmetto Pack Cats. Catfish Dave, those guys, they catch them on cut bait all the time, but they're fishing that Tennessee River system. They're a lake between 2 dams. There's moving water going through there. Mark Twain is a big puddle. The only time we have moving water is if there's big rains and it washes into creeks, but the rest of the time it's still water. And that still water, what I found, the flatheads just don't like to cut bait. I mean, not like they do in a river system.
Yeah, because
Melhorn hasn't caught a fish on cut bait since they come out with chicken for bait.
And this is a panfish channel, but it is funny. I use chicken as much as I use anything
really?
For catfish anymore. Yes,
I've tried it. I can't get one to even look at a piece of chicken. So I think tell Dieter he's photoshopping all the fish. I don't believe.
I'm telling you, I thought he was nuts when that's where I seen it first too. Was on watching.
I've known Dieter for years, so I can climb on him every once in a while, and I do. But yeah.
I used it this spring, pretty much this summer. I used it some last fall, but this year especially. But in the spring, I was fishing it right beside cut bait. I had fresh shad I just got. I had regular chicken breast, Tyson chicken breast you buy at the store, boneless chicken breast. And then I had boneless chicken breast with Jello on it. I made with Jello. I didn't catch a fish on anything but that Jello chicken for like 4 days straight. They wouldn't touch shad.
Really?
They wouldn't touch regular, but they eat that chicken Jello, like that strawberry Jello chicken, like nobody's business. And then it was like a light switch, just like this. About mid-May, couldn't catch anything on chicken. All they wanted was shad.
Yeah.
Primarily like for catfish, I'm a strong believer in if it isn't in the water, don't use it. Meaning what I mean by that is don't bring skipjack to Mark Twain. You're wasting
Yeah.
your time.
Yeah, they don't know what that is.
They don't know what it is.
No.
But at the same time, I don't know if too many chickens been swimming around out there either.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I have never seen a chicken swim on the Mississippi River yet.
I would definitely say that turtles, like, let's say if you're using a trout head in a lake that doesn't have it, the turtles love it. They'll eat anything, and they seem to be attracted to the weird stuff. So
if you find me a chicken that can swim up the Missouri River in that 9-mile-an-hour current when it's stroking, that's the chicken I want for bait. Until that happens, I'll stick with what I use, and it ain't chicken.
You know, I can remember when I was a kid, we would actually get, the freshwater mussels. And I may be telling something I shouldn't have done because it's probably illegal. But you see them big freshwater mussels. Well, we were kids. We didn't have no money. We'd go pick soda bottles up out of the ditch and take them, get a nickel piece for them, enough to, buy a thing of worms, for 50 cents. But chase grasshoppers, whatever. But we'd be fishing. We'd run out of bait. So we'd dig in mussels. We'd walk around along the bank in that muddy bank and dig in mussels out and break them mussels open and take that meat out of that mussel and use that. And that was some of the best catfish bait there was.
It was.
I caught more catfish, blue cats, and channel cat off of that.
Did you ever go to the islands on the Mississippi River and dig them big old long worms out of there?
The sandworms?
Huh?
Sandworms?
Yeah, that's got that some kind of nasty stuff that comes out of them when you hook them
green,
on it.
glow in the dark green. Yeah.
But they are so tough. The skin on them so tough. If any worm, they stay on a hook great.
That's what I have in my yard. They remind me of big red wigglers.
The banks of the river, and
that's what I actually have in my yard when I pick them up.
Wow.
I think they're big red wigglers is what they move like a snake. They do this.
Yeah, they do. And they get big.
Yes, they do. Big.
They get big.
I've seen a question somebody asked that I didn't answer. How do I cook crappie?
Yep, that was a question from Betty.
I use the Uncle Buck's, the Bass Pro Shops Uncle Buck's original seasoning, and it's a battered. You can use it as a batter or just a seasoning. Now, my wife, she uses the Andes, and
that's the stuff.
Washed it off. I like the Uncle Buck's. I like spicier stuff, and they got the hot and spicy. And I usually, like for crappie, I'll just use the straight originals. I like a little milder seasoning for that. But and we just, wash the fillets good. Make sure to soak them in salt water before you cook them. And then just bread them. We don't put them in milk or add any pico to it or anything. We just put it in I put it in a Ziploc baggie, shake it, and then just drop them in the grease,
Frank's on fire tonight. But yeah, I love Andy's red. It's the spiciest of all of it. It's not real spicy, but it's got a great flavor to it. I love that stuff.
Yeah. Now for like catfish, I'd like the hot and spicy. I mix it half and half and give it a little more kick. But I also eat mayonnaise on my crappie, and I eat, I like a little ketchup with my catfish. So
yeah, I've had it that way. I haven't had it recently that way, but I've had it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll eat fish about any way. I'm not a big trout fan, but any panfish is good eating. Love catfish and crappie, and I can eat walleye. I just would rather have some other stuff. Just something about it. I don't know what it is. I just don't care for it. But crappie and flathead, that's pretty hard to beat. It really is. But I haven't killed a flathead in years and years just because I love them so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to beat flathead, in my opinion. That's the filet mignon,
That's right.
But yeah, crappie to me and flathead are right there kind of together. In general, I think flathead's a little better than crappie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think walleye and sauger's the top.
I would like to try sauger sometime. I never have. I don't think I've ever caught one.
I like fish when you fish for them. In January or February is when we normally fish for those. I haven't done it for a few years now. Used to go below Saverton Lock, and on on the earthen levee side over there, it used to be a huge hole about 30 foot deep, 35 foot deep. And of course, that water would come out of the locks and it would eddy around and then go down. And you could just we'd use 3/4, 1 ounce, lead head jig, and no skirt or anything on it, no plastic on it. And then we tie like a number 8 treble hook about 3 inches back like a stinger hook. And then we'd use them big 3 and 4 inch shiners you could get, and let it go to the bottom. And then you just sat here and just lift it up off the bottom about 2-3 foot and right back down real slow until you felt the bottom again. And when they hit, it wasn't, they didn't smack it and pull. It was like you were hung on, you were hung on somebody else's lost fishing line, it would just be a weight. And, you could catch, most of them you caught was in that 15, 12 to 16, 17 inches, every now and then you get a big one, you could get a big one. The one on the wall, one's up here behind me on the wall, came out of Mark Twain. Them 2 walleye.
Nice.
I'll give it a try, Betty, one of these days. I just like fish.
Yeah, we love eating. We eat fish, like I said, about twice a week. So it's normally I don't keep fish in the summer, during the summer months. They get in that water warms up and they start getting mushy. And I like them in the spring. And then again, like I said, about September, I start keeping a few, usually.
Cool. What do you say we start one of the giveaways up, Lyle? Let people enter in hashtags.
That's fine, dude. You going to do it? You want me to? I've got it.
Why don't you do it? I don't know if I can get it on there. Or actually, let me see. Let me see if it works there. I think we can get it done.
Okay. That's cool.
We can. All right. Which one you want to do first, Lyle?
Go ahead with yours first, Mark.
Okay. Let me get this hashtag set up.
We have a lot of fun doing giveaways, Dennis.
Yeah, it's
Matt, I did not.
Tried the other night, I couldn't win anything. Last week.
All right, everybody. If you want to win a Catfish and Crappie beanie, we got the new gray with the white text. We're going to give one of these away. We do have other colors. I'm going to start putting them up for sale again this Monday. So if you want to get one, we'll get them shipped out on Monday too. So Lyle is on the naughty list. What else is new?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Matt, I did not see your question about natural colors. Resubmit that, and I will try to watch for it. But you guys have, and I know Matt understands, but sometimes this chat goes faster than we can keep up with.
It does, doesn't it? And when you got a good guest like this, the conversation gets carried away.
We've had a blast having
Appreciate
you
that.
on here. We really have. You're going to have to come back at some point and do another show with us.
Oh,
But
I had fun.
we have another great guest going to be on next week that fishes the same area.
Yes, you do. He's a friend of mine. He's a very good fisherman, very knowledgeable, very good guy as far as, a wealth of knowledge on areas of fishing that I really don't fish much, especially bass fishing.
Yeah, we'll have a good show with him and have a great time. Let's see, what's SK say here on our waters? Gets into the 90s here in the summer. I don't see that the fillets get mushy. I put them straight on ice, and that may be why. I believe that ice will help firm them up.
Yeah, I do too. The bad part is I have an 1860 Sea Arc side console. It's nothing fancy. And by the time I'm one of the people that, like I go out right now, I single pole, but I have 6 crappie rods in my boat when I go,
Yeah.
in case one breaks.
Well, yeah, you never know.
Yeah, maybe I want spider rig that day. Who knows? I may also have 6 catfish rods in there because, I caught lemon crappie in an hour. I'm going to catfish a little bit. So, I got to take catfish gear. Then I got crappie gear.
Yeah.
I got a
I'm
cooler
all
with
over
drinks.
that.
and I got a minnow bucket with minnows in it, and I got another cooler that has shad or whatever my bait is. I don't have room for another cooler.
I know what you're. Here's a great question. Matt says, when people talk about natural bait colors, what colors are they referring to, and do natural color change with the seasons?
Absolutely. Natural color, bait colors. Well, you got to think about it. If your lake doesn't have shad in it, okay, shad are at least in my waters here. Shad is the primary forage source for all your fish in general. But if you're in an area that doesn't have shad, okay, your chances are it's your panfish that are going to be foraged on. Small bluegill, small crappie, small bass fry, whatever the case may be. So in the spring, when the spawn is before spring, they're probably going to be feeding on a bigger small fish. So if maybe crappie are moved into the banks, maybe you want to use something that are more, kind of colored like crappie, a green and a yellow or a bronze color, even, because a lot of crappie are actually a bronze color, not just green. And I call them crimson crappie when you catch them. They almost look like they're brass. So you want to change to that. And then when the spawn's on and the fry are real small, they're almost black, or they're are clear, depending on what they are. Are they bass fry? Are they crappie fry? Are they bluegill fry? So if they're foraging on, those little fry like this, you'll switch over, and maybe it's a dark colored fry. This is one of them I use when the spawn is, going full swing and it just ends and the fry are starting to come out and they're a dark color. I use this little kind of purple colored with a white clear belly, and it's a purple speck. It works good on Mark Twain because that's what they're feeding on. And then again, when the shad spawn, they're going to move to a white. Summertime, they're going to be feeding on whatever they can eat, get in their mouth. So whatever's prevalent in your water, try to match that as best you can. And there's also times, there's also a lot of factors there. Water temperature plays a role in what colors you use. Clarity plays a huge role. And also what looks yellow to us when we're looking at it, you put it down in the water and get down about 5 or 6 feet, it may not look yellow. It may look, orange. Yep. It may look brown, so you got to take that into factor too. I used to have one of them deals. You could drop it in the water at whatever depth you're fishing, and it tells you what color to use according to the water temperature.
Yep.
That's a good thing if you don't know for sure. That's a good thing. They're inexpensive. I think they cost like $10-12 now.
Yeah.
You can go.
Yeah. Jason says, "What's on your hat?"
Okay. I get asked a lot if I guide, and quite frankly, no, I don't guide. I don't want the pressure of that on me to have to find fish for somebody else. And then when you don't, they're upset or you run a trip. And I have a lot of people as YouTubers, I'm sure you guys have experienced this. They will hunt you down, whether it be on Facebook, at the lake, or wherever. They will hunt you down and ask you, do you guide? Do you ever take anybody out?
That's a fact.
And I get a lot of that. And my answer to that is no, I don't. Well, a friend of mine is a guide out at the lake, and there's a couple, 3 guides out at the lake. There really is, but there's one in particular that the only one I would recommend, just because 1, I know him. 2, he's won tournaments out the lake for crappie. This guy, he fishes for him. This is what he does. When he's not taking people out, everything he does seems to revolve around it. It's a lifestyle for him. He's out trying to make sure he knows where they're at, what they're biting on. And then when he's and he organizes a shore restoration where we take brush piles out. He gets a group of guys together, and we went out and placed brush piles throughout the lake, to attract these fish and give the fry somewhere to hide,
That's way cool.
you know, and not only that, I mean, he's knowledgeable about not just this lake, but other lakes too in the area. And it's Kenny Wilkerson with Wilkie's Guide Service. And I just happened to have the hat was sitting over here, and I put it on. And but yeah, I mean, he's just a good guy. Not only Kenny, you know, he's proven he knows where these he knows where these fish are. That's not to say, you know, everybody has a bad day every now and then.
Well, sure, everybody.
In general,
that's the way it is.
You know, when I have problems finding them, hey man, help me out. You know,
yeah.
Where are these fish? What do you know? Help me out. I don't care where it is. Just what are you catching them on? You know,
give me a depth at least.
You know, yeah. You know, I'm lucky enough. I have friends that are, you know, that if I'm not around the lake for whatever reason, I can say, hey, you know, I'm struggling. What am I doing wrong here? You know, but he's like sharing that knowledge, you know, and whatnot, just all around. He doesn't just take from the lake by making money off of it. He actually puts back into the lake too.
That's
know, for everybody, not just, you know, I'm a guide at the lake. Use me. I'll catch you fish. And then that's the only time you ever see him is when he's, you know, he's doing other things that revolve around the area and around the sport, you know,
that's
to help
way cool.
For everybody, you know, not just himself.
Well, Jason is Strike 3 Fishing, and he will be our guest next week. So we're looking forward to that too. And hopefully we'll have a big turnout of people have lots of questions for him also.
Very cool. I'm going to have to really take a drive out to Mark Twain, visit you guys.
Heck yeah.
You come up there, we'll get you in a boat. I'll get you in a boat with somebody, me or somebody.
I'll bring my boat up there. I'll just follow you guys around if I have to.
That happens, believe it or not. That
a lot.
Happens a lot.
You know, we've done that in the past, and it's worked out pretty well, and people in chat know what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to give it a couple more seconds, and we'll do the first drawing for the beanie. We got 41 in there. I know there's 70-something in chat, I believe. So in order to win it, you have to put hashtag beanie in the chat box. You have to be a subscriber to be able to do that. So why don't you guys do that? Like I said, we'll give it a minute or two. Actually, we'll do the drawing here in a second, Lyle.
Sure.
I don't see anybody else coming in there. Chad entered it in.
Is he allowed? He's a relative of yours.
Yeah, he's allowed. He's all right. I give him the business, but it's
oh.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do this drawing. You ready, Lyle?
I am.
All right, I love this tool. Mark Anthony, how you doing, bud? David Martin, the winner.
Cool.
David, I believe I have your address. If not, I will contact you. I'm going to be shipping a bunch of this stuff out on Monday, so I'll get it in the mail for you on Monday because of the holiday and stuff. I got family stuff tomorrow, not Saturday, so if I can get out early, I will, but hopefully it'll ship on Monday. Congratulations, David Martin. I appreciate you. All right, I'll set it up for the next one, Lyle, so you guys can go ahead.
Well, Dennis, I want to thank you for being our guest tonight on Panfish Nation. I can't tell you how much that we appreciate you spending your Thursday evening with us. I know it gets kind of late and you work like everybody else, but man, you've done a wonderful job on the show with us, and we appreciate it a great deal.
I appreciate the opportunity and the invitation to be here. Like I said, when you contacted me, I was kind of like, why do they want me? You know, but it has been a blast. I've really enjoyed it. I appreciate it.
It's a lot of fun. We love having good people on here, and you're definitely one of them. So
when I see somebody that makes quality videos such as the ones that you do, then I feel like most of the time they will make a good guest.
I try. I'm right now, getting stuff has been a hassle with everything with COVID.
Right.
Whatnot. You all know that.
Yeah.
I've had camera. I've got a single GoPro, and I bought a cheap $39 camera first, and it was just horrible. But I have a single GoPro. I film everything on it. I've ordered a couple more cameras, but they've been on back order forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that way, because I want to be able to do, I have the editing. I bought a nice editing system, you know, software and whatnot. I can do picture-in-picture and all that stuff, but I just don't have another camera to do it right now. So.
I'm thinking them cameras are probably sitting on one of them container ships off the California coast.
That could
very well could be.
Real
where
quick,
most everything's
folks,
at.
entered hashtag Tumblr in there to be entered in to win. I want to let them get started while we're talking, guys. So it looks like they got the clue. They're stacking up.
It looks like they're coming in.
Yeah, YouTube's it's I like doing it. It's different. It's not fishing. It's something that I add to fishing, and it's quite the learning experience. And I've met so many good people through it and stuff. It's been really good to me. So I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah, that's one thing about it that I was surprised about is just how many people. I mean, my channel's fairly new. I really started it in March, so it isn't very, isn't very old. And the amount of people, even back, in July, June, July, when I didn't have very many subscribers at all, 100, 150 subscribers, it amazed me how many people I'd be at a boat ramp and somebody'd start yelling at me, hi, enjoyed the videos, whatnot. I have yet really to run into anybody that had anything negative to say about the channel. I mean, I do smoke. That's my Achilles heel. I don't drink. I don't go out to bars or anything like that. My Achilles heel is smoking. I do smoke, and occasionally I'll be smoking on one of my videos, mainly on the catfish videos, because you're just kind of sitting there waiting for something to happen. And I have had a couple people mention that, and I can't be perfect. I'm not going to try to be, and that's why on my videos they're for 18 and older.
Gotcha.
Is just because of that factor.
Mm-hmm.
If a kid's seen me, he's a good, he's catching these fish and he's smoking, and he starts smoking. I don't want that. I don't want to see anybody smoke. I'd love to be able to quit myself, but that has been futile as of yet to be able to do that. So, but other than that, that's the only negativity I've gotten from it. And that to me floors me when you see some of these channels and people just troll.
Oh, they do that. They do that quite a bit still. It doesn't matter.
And it doesn't bother me if somebody did do that, because I'm the type, well, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, move on. Do what you enjoy. Life's too short, to be dealing with negativity if you don't have to.
That's exactly right.
So,
when we first started doing Catfish Weekly years and years ago, Chuck and I smoked on the show.
Yeah.
And I had a good friend of mine, Jason, from over in Indiana, Jason Malone. He called me up and he said, I got nieces and stuff that watch that, and they don't understand how come you're smoking on your show. Yeah. And it struck home with me. So we talked about it, and we both decided we wasn't going to do it anymore. We have been known to have an adult beverage once in a while we was doing shows. Nobody knows it, so it doesn't really matter. But the smoking thing we did stop doing during the show, and I try to ask my guests not to do that during the show. And everybody understands it; they really do.
Yes.
The thing is, I quit smoking 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago, and I'm telling you, it can be done. It's not as hard as people let it out to be. The thing is, I miss it every day. Yeah. All day long, and I don't think that'll ever go away. But what I don't miss is $5 and change a pack.
Yeah,
I don't miss that none. So it's not worth it to me to try to go back to it. But I will never condone or look down on anybody for smoking, because I've done it for over 40 years.
And I've quit several times for like 2 or 3 years at a time, and then for whatever reason, I'll start again. Every time I've quit, I'd smoke one and be like, ugh, it tastes, I just don't want to, and I throw them away, and I don't even want one every time that I've quit. But inevitably, year, 2 years, one time I quit for 5 years, and that's when I was younger and still drank, and you'd have a drink, somebody lights one up, and the next thing you know, you've already lit one up too, and that got me going again. But I agree. That's mainly why I quit. If on my earlier videos, you'll see me doing it, but since about August, September somewhere in there, you'll notice you do not see me smoke on camera. You'll see me maybe pick up my cigarette pack and then I'll put it back down real quick.
Yeah.
And that's because
I don't like people to climb on people for doing it, because it's really none of their business. If you want to smoke, that should be up to you. And I hate the fact that the government taxes the crap out of us for wanting a pack of cigarettes or a bottle of beer. That really chaps me, but there's not a thing we can do about it.
Right. But I mean, one of my friends that is they're a customer of mine in my carpet cleaning business that I do. They own a business out at the lake, and I was in there getting bait. And a lot of times this summer, they pretty much supplied me with minnows all summer. I pretty much didn't pay for a minnow whenever I stopped there. It got to the point where you start feeling bad, because I'm not asking for anything for free or whatever, but they're friends of mine. They're like, it's half that many will die before I sell all these, just go ahead. And I'd just buy something every time I went in there because I knew they weren't going to let me pay for minutes. So I would buy a pack of Jigs or sodas or meat sticks or something. That way they had, got some money.
Mm-hmm.
And, she said something to me about it. She said, we love the videos. We just wish you wouldn't light that cigarette up in them. And I told her the same thing I told somebody that commented on there. I am who I am. I'm not going to be fake. Just so somebody will watch a video of me. But at the same time, she pointed out, what if that teenager that's watching that sees you do it and then they start doing it? And that kind of sunk in a little bit.
That kind of hits home. It definitely
kind of hits home there that I don't want anybody to be a bad influence.
Yep.
I make the videos to share my experience on the water. Maybe I'm doing something you never tried before and you want to try it. And you're going to learn by watching. That's why, in the good or bad, I have one video I really screwed up and it could have been really bad. And I ended up falling in the boat and almost fell in the water.
Oh, wow.
And, and it was all because what I was doing was stupid, and it's something we've all done. You got a boat anchored up in heavy current and you're fishing, and below the dams where it was, they raised the water up even more. And I had anchors out the back, and it was starting to pull the boat down.
Mm-hmm.
And I start loosening anchors, to take care of that. That way it won't do that. And the fish started biting when they started raising the water. So now I'm trying to catch fish. I'm trying to deal with anchors. I'm walking back and forth in the boat along the edge of the boat, no life jacket on, in a heavy current. And I stepped on top of one of the coolers on my boat. When I did, it flipped out from underneath of me. And I don't know what kept me in the boat. I really don't. There'd have been no way I could have held on to the boat if I did fall out the way I was falling. And at worst case, best case scenario is I'm a half mile down the river before I even get swum back to the bank. Key, cell phone, everything's in the boat. Nobody's down there but me.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
I'm walking at least to the headquarters if somebody's there, about 2 miles, wet and mad. But very easily, what happens would have hit my head, not even knocked me out, but just enough to where I didn't know where I was or anything, it could have been bad. I share that, because I don't want somebody else to be doing that. Something we've all done 1,000 times and nothing's ever happened. But in that situation, it was pretty stupid to be walking around without a life jacket on.
I agree.
Not to mention trying to catch fish before I took care of the real problem.
Yep.
If I would have took care of the problem, then caught the fish, it wouldn't have been an issue. But instead, I'm running around, tripping over dip nets and coolers flipping out from under me. It could have been bad. I share that too. That way somebody can learn from what I
Absolutely.
did. Don't do what I did type thing,
How's the search for people signing up going?
I don't know. I haven't even been on my channel.
No,
or your channel or what? I don't know. Are you talking about the giveaway? You all got me.
Yeah, the giveaway.
Someone just asked for your link, so I was busy posting that up there. So
they were asking. That's why I thought it was.
I think we're good. We can probably get this one done. We're at the same amount we had for the beanie, so I think
that sounds good.
All right, so let's do the drawing.
Absolutely.
Oh man, I should have entered in on this one.
Yeah.
Son of a gun. Mike's Fishing Home.
Oh, congratulations, Mike. Just messaged me after the show. and it's probably going to be Monday with the holiday weekend coming up before it gets shipped out. But just send me your information, shipping address, and we will get that out to you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah, absolutely. Man, we've had a great show tonight, Dennis. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll get you back on here at some point if you're interested in doing it. I think you had a good time. I hope so.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
And Mark, you got any closing stuff?
Yeah, Christmas show Saturday night. I think it's going to be 7 p.m. We're shooting for on Catfish Weekly. I have Trey Parker of Fish Smack Monday on my podcast show on the Catfish and Crappie. Trey's a great guy. He has awesome content. Make sure to tune in. I'd love to have all you guys. Also, Pontoon Jody's live now. I may be heading over there after I take a short break. So if you want to pop in there, say hello to everybody in there. I'll be there to greet you too. So go give her some support.
And she invited me, and if I'm not too tired after this, I may jump in there. But my guest Monday night on Catfish Weekly will be Mike Greenwell. So jump in here and visit with Mike. We'll have a good time with him. He's always a great guest. And again, Dennis, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great show tonight. I really enjoyed it. I want to thank everybody for watching. Have a Merry Christmas. We'll see you all Saturday night. And have a fun show for that. And for those of us that are not going anywhere or not doing anything, or the Christmas is over for us, we'll just sit around and have a good time.
I will have camouflaged adult beverage with me, Lyle.
Camouflage adult. Me too.
There we go. Christmas cheer. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep, good night.